Assalamu alaikum and a very good morning to you all. I hope you had a great weekend. Now, since we lost two classes last week, we have decided to take 1 hour class every day this week to catch up. All right. So, um, remember the last class? What did we do in the last class? We stopped at the punctuation slides, right? We looked into a little bit of the punctuation rules and how they are used in different ways. So today we are going to cover the punctuation rules and go through some of the punctuations. And then also we'll be looking at the 7 components of writing. Now we are going into writings since your major assessment will be a writing task, and I'll share with you the details soon for the assessment. Probably we'll have two assessments where I'll be checking your writing skills. Also, I'll be looking at the different parts which we have previously covered in your writings. Okay. So, if you have any questions, you can always ask. Okay, let's start. I think we have covered a little bit of this presentation. So we'll just go through the first few slides quickly. Now, before I start, um, as you all know, I have assigned you one assessment. In the previous class, which was due on when? Which was due on 20th. But it seems not all of you have completed the task, right? How come? The worksheet 2 rewrite. Now, here, keep in mind that when I rename the assessment, I always write the due date at the end. Okay, W2 means worksheet 2 rewrite, that is the assessment name, heading, and then after the underscore 20 dash 9, that is the due date. All right. It seems very few of you have done the exercise. Is it difficult? Since very less students have completed it, I think maybe it's difficult. Okay, so for some of you, I think it is a little bit difficult. Here, what you have to do is just basically you'll be applying the knowledge of the sentence structures, where we learned four different types of sentence structures. The easiest way to do is just read through the passage, and then when you read, for example, let's see the first one. Here you can see he went to the lake because there everything was the same and he could forget about what happened that night when she ran away before he had a chance to tell her how he felt, and she was sent back to Texas. So right now we are just going to discuss the first paragraph only. I still want you all of you to complete this task. Okay, let's see the first one. What you have to do is there are three lines. This is one short paragraph. There are three lines here, and the whole paragraph is written as one whole sentence. What you have to do is you have to break it into several sentences, maybe a very short, simple sentence, or compound complex sentence, a compound sentence. Anyway, and also if there are any other mistakes, you can correct them also. For example, here it says how he felt. You do not say felt, right? So you should correct mistakes like that also. So here, what we can say is also, if you have to, you can omit or remove one or two words from the passage. For example, he went to the lake because there everything was the same. We could stop here. We could this way. I think it will be easier for you. He went to the lake because there everything was the same. We could write full stop here and make this capital and comma. And because why are we writing comma here? Because and is a connective, and usually we use connective. If we are starting a sentence with a connective, then you should write a comma after the connective. Okay, but here we are starting the sentence with and. That does not mean that it is um, that you can always start a sentence with and. No, okay, in very rare cases, suppose if you are writing a letter or maybe a report, do not start your sentences with and every time. Okay, later on we will discuss other linking words and connecting phrases which we can use in different stages of writing. So when you are starting sentences or in the middle of the sentence, you can always use the different linking words, different connectives. Okay, so here in this case, we are starting the sentence with and, comma, he could forget about what happened that night when she ran away. And he could forget about what happened that night when she ran away. Felt will remove S. How he felt. Now we are going to remove and then start the sentence with a capital letter she. She was sent back to Texas. Now let's read it again. He went to the lake because here we can write comma. He went to the lake because there everything was the same. He could he could forget about what happened that night when she ran away before he had a chance to tell her how he felt. And we removed and from here and then started the sentence. She was sent back to Texas. Now similarly you can complete the other rewrite the other paragraphs also. All right. Now I'll give you an extension. I want you all to complete this worksheet, okay? So that it will be easier for you in the upcoming topics. So that it will be easier for you to follow up on the upcoming topics, right? Writing topics especially. Okay. I think we have covered these slides of punctuation. As we have previously discussed in the previous class, punctuation helps the reader to, it shows the reader where one chunk of meaning ends and another begins, where to pause or change tone when reading aloud. First we have the full stop, question mark and exclamation mark. Um, a sentence, as we all know, starts with a capital letter and ends with a full stop. And question mark shows a question. Exclamation mark shows the whether it's a statement or sometimes the mood of a sentence. Exclamation mark shows the mode of what the person is saying. Full stop shows the end of a statement. Question mark shows the end of a question. Exclamation mark shows, as I said, for example, raised voice, strong feelings, and exclamation. Comma, separating items on a list. Separating the direct speech from a reporting clause. Separating of tag phrases and names. For example, as you can see, this is great, isn't it? How old are you? John. Okay, let's take a look at the first one. Martin has a question, right? Okay. Just give me 1 minute. Now here, I think what Martin is asking is, correct me if I'm wrong, okay? If we can change this part to, he went to the lake because there everything was same there. Right? Because everything was same there. He wants to forget what happened last night. Now here in the instruction, what does it say? It says read the loose sentences below, rewrite each passage, breaking it into several sentences that maintain the meaning of the original passage. So what you have to do is, you have to break this passage into several sentences, not exchange the words. The words should be as exactly as they are. Okay, you cannot change the words, but the words should be written as it is. Now, now if we change it like this, now we have changed the whole original line or original sentence to, we have reordered the words, right? But what you actually have to do is just break the passage into shorter or several sentences. Okay, not exchange the words. So when you are rewriting it, the words should be exactly like that, as it is. Okay, understood. Now here at the top you can see the original given question passage paragraph. Okay, see the difference. He went to the lake because there everything was the same and he could forget. He went to the lake because everything was same there. He wants to forget. Okay. Now, when you are rewriting, keep in mind always try to keep the words as they are. If you need to, you can remove one or two words. All right. And if you think there's no other way, then you could add one or two words when you are rewriting. If you think that there's no other way, okay, otherwise you should rewrite the paragraph from word to word as it is, but just put a comma in the necessary places and separate the sentences. Understood? Now here in green color you can see how it will be rewritten when rewritten correctly. Okay. Okay, I hope you have understood. You have got some idea on how to complete the other paragraphs. Alright, now let's move on. Okay, comma. I think we stopped at this slide, right? Comma marking of extra information embedded in the sentence. Jill, my boss, is 28 years old. Dash. A dash gives a break halfway between the comma and a full stop, showing a sharp break between two chunks of meaning. For example, it was great to see you. We must meet again. Now, usually a dash is used when you don't, you are not ending the sentence, but you are writing a full independent clause, and then also when another full independent clause comes at the end of the sentence. For like the example, you can see, it was great to see you. We can stop, we can put a full stop up to there and stop the sentence, but also there is an additional information. The person is giving some more additional information on the same topic, therefore they are using a dash here. Okay. And then another independent clause is added, we must meet again. Both these chunks are main clauses. A comma cannot separate two main clauses. Okay, just like I said just now. Marking of extra information embedded in the sentence. On Monday, the first day of our holidays, we explored the beach. The dash is a feature of informal writing which echoes speech patterns. For the formal equivalent, see semicolon. Semicolon is also similarly used as a dash. Okay. And also here it says a dash is an informal feature of writing. So when you are writing in formal writings, you don't normally use dash. Okay, but in some cases, there might be cases where you might have to use dash. We'll look into it when we are going through letter writing. Okay. Brackets. Brackets show information which is extra to the main text. When you want to give some more extra information about the topic which you are talking about in a passage or sentence, you can mention them in brackets. Sometimes information like dates, age, amounts, things like that, we usually mention them in brackets. Marking of extra information embedded in the sentence. Marking of extra facts like dates or dimensions. For example, on Monday, the first day of our holidays, we explored the beach. Now, for example, when reading something and when you come across the information in the bracket, sometimes we can skip we can skip that information while reading. For example, we can say on Monday we explored the beach. In the information given in the bracket is just for an extra information for the person to see. Extra facts like dates and dimensions. As brackets are very noticeable, they are used when the writer wishes to draw attention to the extra information. Brackets are sometimes called parentheses. Information in brackets is said to be in parentheses. Commas and dashes can also enclose parenthetic information. Next is semicolon. A semicolon gives a break halfway between a comma and a full stop. A semicolon separates two separate main clause. Also, it is used to separate lengthy items in a list. Here, for example, it was a great pleasure to meet you yesterday. I hope we meet again soon. The semicolon here is like a formal version of the dash. As we previously saw, semicolon and dash can be used in similar situations. I surveyed John Street, small red brick houses, an ancient church, Three brand new bungalows and a Victorian townhouse gone to seed. Colon. A colon marks a break where there is a feeling of balance between the elements on either side. And to introduce a list, an example, or a quotation, I surveyed John Street, small red brick houses, an ancient church, three brand new bungalows, and a Victorian townhouse gone to seed. Now here in this example, here's the main topic, John Street, and then the list follows below. Therefore, the colon is used right before the main topic of the sentence. John Street. To separate two main clauses where the second clause expands on or illustrates the first. Now, here is another example for introducing a list. I love the first lines of Jabberwocky. Do you know what Jabberwocky is? Anyone knows what Jabberwocky is? Jabberwocky is a poem written in um, what can we say? Now, it does not use exact words which are in the dictionary. Like here is an example. "'Twas brillig and the slighty toves did guile and gambol and web in the web." To separate two main clauses where the second clause expands on or illustrates the first. It was very cold. It was very cold. The temperature was below zero. Here, as you can see, it was very cold. This is one whole independent clause. The temperature was below zero, another independent clause. So, to connect these two, we can use a colon. Sometimes, instead of using a connecting word like and or therefore so, we can use a colon like it's used here. In the example, it was very cold, the temperature was below zero. What kind of sentence is this? Compound, complex, simple? Yeah, what kind of sentence is it? It's a compound sentence, simple. Right there it says it has two main clause. When it has two main clause, what kind of clause? Two independent clause. There are two independent clause. That means if it has two independent clause, that means yes, it's a compound sentence. Right? Two independent clauses is a compound sentence. Okay. Next is direct speech. Direct speech means what the speaker is saying, exactly um, the words or the phrase which the speaker is saying. Okay, each new speaker on a new line. Here you can see in the example any form of any phrase or any word of direct speech will always be in a speech mark, as you can see here. It's late, said Cinderella. And if that quote or if that phrase is in a speech mark, then usually it will be followed by the word said. Okay, or previously, or the phrase will come prior to the speech mark. For example, the prince smiled and answered, "Yes, but we have all the time in the world." "What time is it?" asked Cinder. Comma between direct speech and reporting clause. Unless there is a question mark. Here you can see in the example, it's late. This is in red. You can see the direct speech, and it ends with a comma. Okay, followed by a simple letter, and then the sentence is ended with a full stop. Direct speech begins with a capital letter every time. Okay, here. Unless a sentence is interrupted by a reporting clause. Here, reporting clause means uh, the receiving end of the direct speech. Speech marks. Speech marks are also called quotation marks or inverted commas and may be used how? To mark the words in direct speech, as we previously saw on the previous slide. To show that a word is being used ironically or oddly, for example, there were many experts in the audience. Sometimes, nowadays, I think when we speaking also, we sometimes say there were many experts in the audience. That is to like not actually using the word in its original meaning to show that a word is being used ironically or oddly. To indicate the title of a book, film, etc., the book Black Beauty was also made into a film. To show a quotation, Wordsworth wrote about an inward eye. To show when you are talking about a word or a phrase. The word exit is the Latin for he goes out. Double and single speech marks. Now you may notice that sometimes there's used for here, like in this example, there's double quotation, but here it's a single quotation. Why? Double marks are usually used in handwritten texts. Single marks are often used in printed texts. Okay, no big difference in using double or single quotation. You can use either way. Hyphen. A hyphen links words or parts of word. Now keep in mind that hyphen and dash here is used differently. Okay, hyphen links words or parts of the word. Sometimes when we are writing, especially in handwritten cases, sometimes when you go to the end of the edge of the page and you write half the word and the other half on the next line, we use a hyphen. When a word is split between two lines, there is an example given. Or you can use hyphen when they are put together to make a new word. For example, mother-in-law, Irish American, cooperation. Here, like a mother-in-law, three separate words, but we use it as a whole. Therefore, we use hyphen between each word. The hyphen differs from dash in that you do not leave a space between the words in the hyphen. It is half as long. That means the size. Okay, dash is a bit longer, hyphen is a bit shorter. Ellipses. An ellipsis is three dots. To show that a sentence is unfinished, etc., we use etc and three dots sometimes. Also to show that words have been missed out in a quotation. To show that a sentence is unfinished, there you can see three dots. The hyphen differs from the dash in that it is half as long. Sometimes, like when we are writing a quote from a book, maybe from a textbook, and when we shorten it, we might need to shorten the quote. So sometimes we omit one part. In that case, you can write it like this. You stop up to one part where you to the part where you want to, and then use the three dots and then continue with the omit that part and then continue with the other part of the quote. The comma splice. Gemma was worn out. She curled up on the ground and went to sleep. Now let's see the rule of thumb. If you could substitute a full stop, a comma is probably wrong. Now in this example, you can use a full stop, but a comma is used. The rule here is a comma cannot be used to separate two main clauses. What can we use to separate two main clauses? We have discussed before. A semicolon can be used, or you can just put a full stop here. You can use alternative punctuation here, as I said just now. You can use the full stop and start with a capital letter, or a dash. You can use a dash. Gemma was worn out. She curled up on the ground and went to sleep. Or semicolon. And colon. Also, you can use a conjunction too. Gemma was worn out, so she curled up on the ground. Here we can use and, then, words like and, or, then. Okay? The apostrophe. Omission or position. Apostrophe shows omission or position. In omission, in shortened forms of words, the apostrophe shows where letters have been missed out. Now, I think apostrophe is most of the times confused, especially when using apostrophe S and S without apostrophe, right? Here, omission means when you omit some letters to shorten the word. For example, cannot, we say can't. It is, it's, it will, I will, I'll. So this is how you use apostrophe for omission. And then position, apostrophe S shows possession. It shows ownership. The girl's coat. The coat belonging to the girl. Now, so keep this in mind. Apostrophe S means that the object mentioned in the sentence belongs to the person. Okay? The children's home. The home belonging to children. Now, as you all know, children itself is the plural form for this word. The singular form is child. The plural form is children. We do not say children's. So, of course, we have to use apostrophe S, and then the word changes the meaning. It shows possession. If the owner noun is a plural ending in S, just add apostrophe S. If the owner noun is a plural ending in S, just add apostrophe at the end. Now here what it means is the girls Sorry. Um, Here in the girls' courts, in this phrase, girls itself is they are using the plural form of girl. So it is girls, and then now if you want to show possession, you have to use apostrophe at the end of the word. The courts belonging to the girls. And now, since the subject is plural, the object has become plural also, courts. The princesses' hats. The hats belonging to the princesses. Okay, I hope you have understood this part. It's quite confusing, apostrophe. Okay. Now these are some points which you can keep in mind when you are when you make your written language easy to read and understand, using of space, paragraphing, organizational device such as bullet points or numbering, and then presentational devices, italic, bold, underlining. You can use these features in your headings and subheadings, enlarged printing, capital letters. Alright, so that's it for today. If you have any questions, you can ask. I'll post the presentation in the classroom. Also, I'm going to assign you another task. Okay, where you are going to rewrite some sentences, short paragraph, um, correcting the mistakes. Alright. I'll make it around 2 paragraphs so that you can complete it by tomorrow. Alright, so that's it for today. We'll see you tomorrow, same time. Okay, goodbye.